To the Wednesday thing. This session is about managing perfectionism. The Wednesday thing is a set of skills development sessions that the College Wellbeing Officers from the Counselling and Mental Health Service run. We present them lecture style rather than as a workshop or group, as this is what feedback indicated would be preferred. The materials we would have given out in a face-to-face presentation have been hyperlinked on our website under the Wednesday thing and the respective session. And within this presentation, we've referred to the use of them and highlighted it using red underlined text so you can follow along if you wanted to. They're also referenced with their links at the end of this presentation. So what is perfectionism? Perfectionism is the relentless striving for extremely high standards for yourself and or others that are personally damaging. It's when our self-worth becomes overly dependent on the pursuit and achievement of unrelenting high standards. And experiencing negative consequences of setting such demanding standards, yet continuing to go for them despite the huge cost to yourself. Perfectionism is not just wanting to do your best, or working hard, being ambitious, or just having high standards, or being careful and particular with your work. We may make jokes about being a perfectionist, but it's often far from funny. Where and when am I a perfectionist? It's possible to be a perfectionist about anything. Our appearance, this might be related to weight or fitness, or the way we dress, or being well groomed. Our living space, this might mean keeping everything spotlessly clean and tidy. Our sporting performance, nothing less than winning will do. Our academic performance, having to achieve the highest mark possible and never making a mistake. The paradox of perfectionism. As we said before, there's nothing wrong with being ambitious and having high standards. The problem comes with those standards when those standards are unrealistically high and our self-worth is totally dependent on achieving them. This means that we can be setting ourselves up for failure, damaging our self-worth and leaving us feeling low and anxious. We may stop trying altogether and feel like a failure, or work even harder and end up exhausted and isolated from our friends. Perfectionist rules and assumptions. Perfectionist rules and assumptions will be rigid and inflexible, such as, if I make a mistake, I will fail completely, or inaccurate, such as, this needs to be perfect or people will judge me negatively. These ideas may have come from how we are raised, or the education system we have grown up with. Rules and assumptions which are flexible and accurate are far more helpful. Human beings are inherently messy creatures who often make mistakes, but still manage to forgive each other. Please see the Perfectionism Unhelpful Rules and Assumptions information sheet for more examples and information on these. Perfectionist thinking. Perfectionist thinking tends to focus on what is not being achieved. It can be very negative. Perfectionists often only see extremes, either total success or total failure with nothing in between. Perfectionists often judge themselves harshly, using negative self-talk that they would never use towards others, damaging their self-confidence. And perfectionists often catastrophize and jump to conclusions, assume they know what others are thinking, or try to predict the future. Tackling perfectionist thinking. We tend to notice and pay attention to things which support what we already believe. Perfectionist ways of thinking support perfectionist beliefs, even though these may be personally damaging. To tackle this, try using a thought record, as explained in the Give Yourself a Break Wednesday Thing session, to record what you are thinking. Recognise that your thinking may be biased, so look for evidence that supports other interpretations of the situation. Investigate the accuracy of your predictions and try to develop a more balanced view. Have a look at the Perfectionistic Thinking information sheet for more on challenging it. Perfectionist behaviours. These include things like excessively checking and or rewriting your work, constantly making lists and reorganising things, avoiding things that you might get wrong or make mistakes with, giving up on things too soon, telling yourself something is too hard without really trying, or being indecisive, or putting too much emphasis on the idea that there is just one right decision. To tackle perfectionist behaviours. It may feel very risky to change perfectionist behaviours, as you may feel your success totally depends on them. So try making small, gradual changes. Break your goal behaviour. For example, try reducing checking into small steps. Repeat each step until you are comfortable before moving to the next one. Test out the accuracy of your perfectionistic beliefs by seeing what happens when you change your perfectionist behaviours. Developing your self-worth. Many perfectionists rely on having unrelenting high standards to boost their self-worth. You might find it helpful to look at other ways of increasing your self-worth. Revisit hobbies and pastimes you used to enjoy. Be creative. It's relaxing and non-competitive. Look for the joy in doing and self-esteem. And Worry in a Hurry looks at managing worry, anxiety, and these are some resources used from this presentation, and also a further resource, which leads you to the Centre for Clinical Intervention's website, where much more information, help and advice can be found regarding perfectionism.